We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Nova Scotia Electric, become a member.
All right. A little something special for the WGGBMUCC. It's a lyrical sculpture in the sand that I carve. This is Flash on the mic, now on the Algarve. From 40 to 60, we are on the attack. If I can just get some vitamin I from my back. Foot on the line, yeah, I'm ready to go. Or did I just pull a muscle? Hold on for a moment. Play it cool, just act like I'm young. Got flicks on my wrist and lyrics on my tongue. 20 more, 10 more years left to go. Tricks from the past and a buttery flow. A little slow off the start, I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. I got none of the pivots, but all the throws. Yeah, I got some dodgy knees. Disc in my hand and the sun in the sky. My dad bod goes jiggle and my hugs they fly. The spirits are rising like a disc on the breeze, going miles out of bounds to the Portuguese seas. I played a point, yeah, I need a sub and a good long soak in an XL tub. Don't need to run anymore, I'm one of 14 handlers. Happy Gilmore this disc like we're all Adam Sandlers. I'm slow off the start, I like to call it brisk. The sunshine glints on my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. We got none of the pivots, but all the throws. Alright, let's finish this off. My 6'2" still works in the bar. I can see from miles. Got drinks on my radar. Portimão party is the place we flee for the friends we see and these great memories. Yeah, I feel the spirit as I pull every sinew. Shatter my knees, yet we're gonna continue. Take this hand, better yet carry me from the beach to the bar, better yet to the sea. I'm slow off the start. I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between our toes. We got none of the pivots, but all of the throws.
Welcome back to the Porti in Portimão. The Iberian Inferno has blazed once again. The sun has returned to the World Great Grandmasters Ultimate Club Championships 2022. We are here on the beach. The sand is starting to dry off after the drizzle persistent of the last few days. Myself, Hannah Penderbury, in the booth alongside Benji Rees, and we have a North American showdown. We have Hurt from Canada versus Man Down from the US of A. Two very deep rosters here in this bronze medal match.
Yeah, Hurt coming from the American-Canadian border, so bringing players from both sides of the divide. Whereas Man Down based more on the west coast. But this shapes up, I think, Hannah, to be a really entertaining bronze medal match.
Absolutely. So getting us underway, Hurt on offense. Only their second appearance on this live stream as we see close match defense underneath Jess Simonet. Threatening that inside channel, shoots it forward. Artibello looking around for options. Nice movements in the sand from Zimmel. Oh, getting hungry is Appleyard. Trying to poach the disc away. Zimmel puts one up into the space, a little bit of a height advantage, and she goes over the top. Marianne Long with the limmy catch.
I mean, I guess maybe some nominative determinism there. It helps if your name's long, if you've got those go-go gadget arms at times. Utilize it well there. Again, just putting it up and letting the bigger receiver go up and make a play. Hurt working this quite nicely into the red zone. Never really looked flustered until maybe you could say that Zimmel puts too much, slightly too much air underneath this, but it's a really good reaching catch over the defender, and you know, full credit to Yao, because she's not got herself in a bad position there at all.
Absolutely, and we say the height mismatch there. Marianne Long isn't the most limmy of female matching athletes you've ever seen. She's 5'6", but great effort from Darcy Ellsworth Yao. Only 5 foot. So a sky battle taking advantage of that difference, and Hurt punched their first one in on a clean hold. The Canadian flag flapping in the breeze. The sun just dusting the sand. So as the temperature starts to rise, as we see the business end of this championship, a pool is going to land way out of bounds by the looks of things. Grant Cashin will decide not to pick it up, and instead we'll have Daryl Noonan. Saw on the roster sheet that his partner Leah has been crossed off, so he won't be given the delights of the honey anchor. Those two working fantastically well together in the earlier stream games. So Daryl fakes the big around, looking a tiny bit lost her options, throws the break across Middlebrook. Matt Schaff now with that lovely white cap. Grant Cashin tries to find his wife up line, but gets hand blocked to heck out of Phil Watanabe.
I mean, there are hand blocks, and then there are hand blocks. Because there's some, maybe you get a little tip of it. Maybe, oh, it's still in play, and there are some where you emphatically slam the door in your opponent's face, and you give them no option whatsoever.
Well, it does bring back memories. You say slam it in their face. I had a brother who had a bit of a penchant for slamming my hand in the door, and that one's going to leave a bit of a mark, I think, for Watanabe tomorrow morning. So Bedard throws one up. It tips off the hand. She goes up high, but can't quite connect with it. Julie G on that underneath. Oh, lovely inside flick. Schaff puts it back. Cashin now looking around. Lovely high backhand loose dish. Tasty one to Middlebrook. Back to Cashin. Going every other pass here. Just floats one out. Pack underneath it. It's going to be a sky ball knocked out of contention by the defense. The block for Eric Bedard.
You see it up, just put it up for grabs, really, in all honesty. And Hurt, again, applying some pressure there. Bedard rising highest, getting the big palm on it, putting it away. Another break chance.
Barrel on the far sideline, dishing back. Force calling low around. Johan Barrel going low, but can't quite pick that one out of the sand. Cashin now dishing back to Noonan. Not really much in the way of options upfield. No one attacking the open or the break space. Oh, but that's a lovely lefty high backhand over the mark shoulder. Schaff now. Noonan. You can see how much he really wanted to throw that zesty around flick, but Hurt just closing the open side. But Cashin opens up the register. Did that connect? Oh no, not quite. Just asking a lot of Jim Middlebrook.
I'm going to get a second look at it on the replay. That low break around. Oh, it's just off the fingertips, isn't it?
It was a really nice throw.
On another day, maybe that sticks in there.
Well, earlier on in the championship, maybe that would have stuck in there. Barrel. Down the sideline, huge effort from Daryl Noonan. Now with yards and space, but nobody in front of him, McConville. Pops back. G. Looking around, searching for the options. Another lefty dish, but that's going to be a little bit too far. I think that's Watanabe trying to collect.
Yeah, McConville will definitely want that one back because there was separation there, and he'd back himself to hit that 99 times out of 100.
So a different look for Middlebrook there, making him go high rather than that low layout. Noonan. So turning into quite the long point. That's a big old leader that's going to lead out to nowhere. Starting to grind through the legs.
Yeah, it's 7 turns this point. Does feel a little bit like it's the last game of the championship for these two sides, and they're maybe just not quite as fresh as they once were.
Well, Mandan will have the advantage in terms of number of persons available for resets, but oh, that's just going to sail over the open palm of Eric Bedard. He goes up with all he can, but the overshot from Daniel McConville, who I was having a chat to yesterday. He's a forestry assessor by trade.
A what, sorry?
A forestry assessor. So he goes around valuing forests so that people can purchase them.
Interesting.
And he says his highlight of his career was winning the Great Grandmasters World Championship back in Ireland on grass with Surly. Of course, they also picked up a US national title.
Yeah, any Frisbee team that has a tie-in with a brewery is good for me. Is a layout on the far side. Can't come up with it again.
Well, I much prefer the Hurt jerseys to the Surly ones, this sort of snake look. Sweet. Watanabe puts it straight into the end zone. Johan Barrel squeaked away from his defender and collects a break for the Canadian club.
That is absolutely an attritional point. And the reason Hurt got that in there is because they maybe just had a little bit more in the tank, and maybe that you could say that's a little surprising given that Mandan bringing a larger roster here. But evidently, you know, it's not always about the numbers. Sometimes it's about the mental state as well. It's all sorts of things that go into making sure how fresh you are.
And I tell you what, we've been saying it's Phil Watanabe with the goal, but actually
There's 234s.
there are 234s.
I think that one is. I think that is Phil Watanabe. I heard him talk to the scorer, and he was like, "Which one are you?" And he was like, "It's, I'm the actual number 16. I was listed on the roster as number 16, so it is Phil Watanabe."
There we go.
I've done
I thought it was that because I thought I'd seen Bronson in an earlier game and did not look like that. So watch out for that one. We should have made him put some masking tape on the back of his shirt.
That's fine. It's the worst that can happen.
Well, we'll just assign his stats to somebody else. We brought the right shirt. Right, Mascot. Getting Mandan underway. This is lovely flow. Squeaking it down that far sideline. Easy one to Fur. Oh, a lovely lead pass. That's really honey smooth offense from Mandan. The goal for Carolina Vargas Reis.
Yeah, just a feathered flick out into space. Is Honey particularly smooth?
Oh, yeah. At breakfast in the hotel in Faro where we stayed. So we've been out here in Portugal for a little while. We are based, of course, in Portimão, but I went for a little explore to Faro. In the morning, they had a big chunk of honeycomb that was like they were sort of, you know, bashing bits of it so it released its honey, and the smoothness of honey as it falls. It's just, I don't know, I'm salivating just thinking about it, Benji, but it's very smooth, can confirm. Until it crystallizes, if you leave it for too long, honey is indeed got a quite high viscosity, though. It takes a while.
It's the only food that supposedly doesn't spoil, right?
Indeed. You can just, if you ever have crystallized honey, you just get it into some hot water and it will turn back into its lovely liquidy self.
In which case, I'm very surprised there's not a great Grandmasters team out there called Honey.
Ooh. Well, maybe when we reach this division, when we get to that length of playing career, we can put that together, Benji. Or someone can steal it. Feel free. It's going to be a while till Benji and I are appearing in the Great Grandmasters division.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've only freshly turned 21. That's not true.
Plus 10.
I can't back that up. Speak for yourself.
Oh yeah, I am.
Oh, all right, that's fine then. Yeah.
But a nice redemption there underneath. That's Simonet. Working the backfield. Oh, that one just tipples out of his fingers, though. Oh, nearly given straight back. Travis Fraser with a slightly loose one to Joey Stewart. Fraser now again. Those two working at the back. Appleyard coming under, but it's going to be a lusty flick to no one's land. Travis Fraser again the target. Those two having eyes only for each other. Maybe a bit of a bromance going on.
Here comes the wiry Fox to pick up. Wiry and wily. And that one, woof! You could see that really leapt out of his hands and did not give the receiver any shot.
Ooh, that's a bad miss.
He'll want that one back.
Yep. But up to Ian Appleyard to bring it back in for man down. Short field for this one.
What did you say his nickname was?
Oh, the tiny British tank, TBT. I think it might be, hold on, it might not be tiny.
Might be little.
Little British tank, there we go. I knew it was something along those lines. LBT, Little British tank. Although he's never played mini tanks. We'll have to introduce him later. But we'll explain exactly what mini tanks is between points. As her look to put a hold in here. They opened up the first wound in this game, and I like that over the top, but it's just going to be a bit too much for Jeff Simonet. So Simonet overthrown. Stewart picking up. Is he going to throw to Travis Fraser again? No, it's going to be a pop through. Huge effort to try and steal the disc away from Feinstein. Attacking the inside, but coming straight through the defender, sneaking Jeff Simonet with the block. Zimmel now opens up a flick that's going to fit perfectly just shy of the goal line. Artibello, is that a timeout call?
I must admit, as soon as he caught that, I was like, there's no one even within half a pitch. Surely the timeout's coming here.
Yeah, one of the rare opportunities for us to say a timeout in play that we actually quite like, as everyone else was far, far behind. But Leah Noonan just enjoying a bit of time on the sideline, having played quite a lot in the earlier game we saw. She's going to take a little bit of brief repose and not appear in this game. We're sad not to see her. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Bit of Harris Maskett getting involved in some dancey action. But as the players on the pitch take a brief break, so will we. Grab yourself a drink and be back to the action after these messages. So highlights thus far of this first half action of the bronze medal matchup at the World Great Grand Masters Beach Ultimate Club Championship 2022. It's man down, trailing behind their Canadian cousins her as they punch in another goal. Zimmel with an easy one for a hold.
Yeah, it's a long hold, but it is a hold. And you see there why Artibello wanted to take the time out, because with no one even anywhere near him, this time he can just set up the isolation to Zimmel in the front of the end zone and pop that one in for the score. Artibello looking to add another medal to his tally. He was a key part of the Fig Jam roster that picked up a silver medal in the Grand Masters division at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships in Limerick earlier this year, losing out to Surly in a, honestly, it was a bit of a beatdown in the final. Unfortunately, wasn't a great game, but obviously there will be players on both sides here in this contest and throughout this tournament, and I must admit, despite that, although that game didn't go to plan, generally I was very impressed with the play of the Canadians in that tournament.
Well, it's a delight to be bringing you this coverage, and if you want us to appear at more tournaments to live stream this ultimate sport, this fantastic action, then please do consider becoming a patron of ours, patreon.com/ULTI.TV. And we'll do some shout outs to our newest patron members: Oscar Ditz, Bert Vanabele, Lucas Cowie-Smith, Kath Greenwald, Yvonne Guy, Matt Hodgson, Giuseppe Chesky, Silvano, and Lukey Poo, he calls himself. Thank you very much, all of you, for becoming patrons of ours this week.
Yeah, we've seen Yvonne Guy actually playing this week for Tragic Hips.
Certainly have. And hopefully, if you're watching this back on demand, you'll consider doing so yourself. It doesn't cost very much to support us, and it's a real community effort to help us keep these streams live and on demand, freely available for your viewing pleasure. But man down, currently needing to strike back and respond. Appleyard nearly loses that one to his shins, but clutches well. Zesty inside shot across. Sheese finds Middlebrook. Looking a little bit lost for options. Wobbles one out to Appleyard.
Pick downfield, I think. Resolved nice and quickly.
We're still keeping you waiting to tell you exactly what we mean by mini tanks the game after the game.
I kind of think we should leave it a bit of a mystery.
But an overshot to Middlebrook, nearly redeemed by Jamie Cashin. Opens up the ledger, but the disc falls out. So, Hurt with an opportunity for another break.
You can hear it on the sidelines. I think it was Fraser saying, everyone's playing as hard as they can, let's go. That's exactly what you want to see this late in a tournament. Won't always go your way, but keep those spirits high, keep the energy engaged.
Well, you've got nothing to do after this but just enjoy some beers and this Portuguese sun that's now appeared behind the clouds. It was always there lurking. Oh, but look at the hand block there. Jim Middlebrook with the pump celebration.
Turbo John Turi was a little bit frustrated with himself. He did really well just to bring that in, because it's a tough reaching grab with the non-dominant hand. And he told us last night at the Gelateria that he was, not particularly confident with the offhand. He did really well there. But then Middlebrook stuffs him with the hand block.
Well, this is what you want to see, teams taking the disc off each other rather than errors. Oh, it's a lusty pass across the big backhand. The pop. The release on that was very, very bizarre, but it works out nicely for man down. And an assist for Middlebrook.
I really thought that he was going to have to lay out for this when it went up, because it felt like, oh, this is what has the stench of one of those throws that's just going to zip a little bit too far. But actually, really nicely judged. And good speed along the sand. It's just a reaching snag from Sheese, who makes it 2-3. This game is tight as you like.
And that is exactly what we hope to see. North American showdown. Middlebrook, hailing from Hawaii, started his ultimate experience with Cal Poly Slowcore.
Yeah, of course. Slow San Luis Obispo. I must admit that my US geography is maybe not as great as it once was.
Although Middlebrook's first love was surfing, of course, so we'll have to find out later if he's going to be catching any waves here in the Algarve, one of the world's leading surf regions out on that west coast. But he started surfing when he was 11, his first love. Zimmel now. Standing tall, finds Simonet. Lead up the line, huge pressure on it. Scrambles up from the sand, but off to the races went Artibello. Trying to set himself up for the break, but it's just going to be hitting the open side, gunning it up line, not quite in. Turning around for the reset for Zimmel. High one over the top, opens up the window, but there was quite a lot of contact on that.
Yeah, Wang and Artibello going blow for blow downfield. Just the quickness in that matchup. Leading out there, you see Wang, he gets the tip, but there does look like there is contact there. Artibello, I think, is going to have to take an injury sub.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be okay and able to return for the rest of this match. He's really dynamite on sand. It's like someone's lit a fuse up him. Well, it was a good attack going up early for Wang, but too much touching. But he is the actual one of the founding members of Man Down, which has started in 2020.
Yeah, their first proper tournament really was last year at at Sardinia for the last event of this tournament, and they came very close to getting a bronze medal there, hoping to go one better and actually pick up the bronzeware on this occasion.
Oh, well, it's a contested foul. Zimmel looking for options, just jinx it in.
I think it's a touch too far.
Yeah, it is. Not good. The drop for Eric Bedard. And Man Down with an opportunity to level us back up and put us on serve. Callahan County in their own end zone. Happy to take those negative yards, but a bit of bumping on the mark maybe, or a travel call. There's some pointing at the floor.
Yeah, that does seem to be the signature sign that there's been a travel called.
Russ Fair, who dominated the sky in the semi-final matchup that unfortunately Man Down didn't quite manage to win. Vargas needs to find the reset. Stall count starting to rise. Squeaks it out to Mascot. Says he wants people to leave him alone and go away. Stop clustering around the frisbee. Fair.
I mean, I get that feeling.
Opens up the deep space. That might be a bit too much to ask for Vargas. She gives up on the sailing long pass.
At the start of the week, maybe she has a shot at it. At the end of the week, it's too much.
Well, Vargas having played for quite a number of different club teams, including Team Venezuela Women's and Team Colombia Masters. She gives a shout out to her love of her life, which is Quark, her dog. So, woof woof to you.
I didn't realize you spoke dog.
Many talents, Benji. So, Simone, been very key in the receptions for her so far. Zimmel unable to be phased. Bedard, who missed the catch before, pops back, but a pit call. Give us a brief moment of repose. Oh, and that is quite the adventurous pass across the end zone, trying to expand over to Jeff Simonet, but the turnover and giving the disc back. 2-man down, the full stretch to go.
Yeah, it hasn't been the cleanest game between these two sides.
I think that's probably one of the understatements of the week so far.
I mean, depending on when this point goes in and who gets it, it could be 3-3 with half at 4.
My goodness.
It's been a grind, and you can tell that both sides are leaving it all out here on the sunny Iberian sands.
I like the early movement to the deep space for Wang. He's sort of sitting and poaching in it though. Not poaching. Of course he's on offense. Just hanging around.
Lurking.
Yeah, maybe just waiting if there's a high stall release as the pressure on the handler set works out quite well. The frustration there, clear from Joey Stewart. Doesn't like the lack of movement downfield. But they just need to be calm and patient.
I'm not going to repeat what he said, but it was along the lines of, somebody, please.
Well, the stall out being called and the immediate response to Ed Fox's call is no way, which this is true vintage Ultimate. And whilst the stoppage for the two opposing players in the centre of it to have a little chat, Disc is going to go back contested stall out. There's an opportunity taken quite smartly by Harris Mascot to say what he wants to see downfield. So people coming a little bit set up too deep. Nice grab from Vargas.
Yeah, if you start off that deep, it doesn't really give you space to attack that option. You've already got a defender there, and you can't lead them out as much as you'd normally want.
Mascot, this is much better flow now. That little bit of advice seems to have paid dividends. Coming under his fur. Was open, not taken. waiting for more separation. Vargas in the centre, easily available. Mascot looking around, trying to direct traffic. Pops into the path of Fur. Nice inside, reaching round. Doesn't take Wang because it's a huge force. Vargas. Popping back, Mascot. Fakes off initially. Someone's going to have to come out of the end zone. You can't all score. Oh, and that's a nice dish over the top. A little bit of creativity in the end opens up the break, potentially, but there's a stoppage on the field.
I wonder if this might be another stall. Or maybe not. Goal stands.
Well, what a defense Hurt put up there. A red zone stand, just really sagging into the lanes, nicely confusing the options. Maskell faking their hammer really sells the mark. Not sure that Ross Fur was expecting that, Benji.
He might not have been expecting it, but he saw it early enough that he was ready to catch, and then clearly Stuart was expecting it because Joey makes the cut there, so as soon as Fur catches that, he just dishes off and they get the score. 3-all, and we're getting Galaxy Point with half at 4.
Absolutely bizarre, and look at the stats board. The shape of this game so far, a mirror image, literal mirror image. We are a bit cleaner though, slightly cleaner than that second marathon point, which had 9 turnovers. The break going in favour of Hurt. But the swing of momentum perhaps in the other direction. 2 on the bounce for man down. Can they make it a third coming out on defense? They will receive coming out of this first half into the second. So Appleyard with the pull. And a pretty darn good one it is. Might just sink out of bounds.
Yeah, you can see that it does. It wasn't far off. Appleyard just didn't quite have his range there. McConville will start the point by bringing it to the brick.
Yeah, in a still day, that would have been on the money, but the wind just giving it that extra little zim. So we brought to the brick mark by Daniel McConville. He's a coach to his local high school team, so hello if you're coached by Mr. McConville. The lefty backhand's going to sail way too far, but it's well collected underneath the hero. Marianne Long expends her wingspan.
Visionary.
Good communication from the sideline. Frustration, though. The mark is huge, and the disc just tipples out of the fingers of Phil Watanabe.
I think he just clapped there a split second too early.
Oh, it's a high stall release from Jim Middlebrook, finding Frazier. Oh, and low release. Just ends up sort of under the tummy of the intended receiver. Now unable to connect. A little bit of a slower start. Coming back into this one for Hurt, but underneath, Johan Barrel. Long. Searching for options, takes the around swing. The connections are starting to flow for Hurt. Lovely reach into the lead for Marianne Long, who then immediately puts it straight into the end zone. John Turi with the goal, and that's half in favour of Hurt. 4-3, they maintain that little lead, but coming out on offence next will be man down.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be surprised that this game's turning into a little bit of a grind, because if we look at the scores in the previous games, in the bracket, man down, tight over Finland, 9-7, tight against Young Legends, although on the losing side in that one, 10-8. And in the semi-final, Hurt against Team America, America won 8-6. So Hurt have this tendency, they battle and they scrap, and not physically, but they don't, it's not like, oh, we've turned over, points done, whatever. They fight and they work hard to get it back. and they'll never give a point up.
Indeed, and both teams with difficult semi-final matchups, perhaps having used quite a lot of the fuel in their tank. Of course, this is just their second game of the day, 2 games a day rhythm, although normally the rhythm for the bodies of these athletes would have been to have a nice little break right now and only be just about thinking about starting their second game of the day either now or in the 5 o'clock slot, which we've seen. But of course, that will be the final later. But a big pole rolling for Hurt. Noonan swinging across to the easily frustratable Stewart. Ooh, fakes out his own receiver with the back pass. Huge pressure. Was that clutched? I think it's still in hand, but a bit too much movement from the defense coming in. Ryan Doucette trying to steal the disc away, clatters. Just a little bit of land on the back. You see the hand there just helping the leg along.
I think it looks like Schaff has come off. Wearing that hat that's been in his attic for about the last 30 years.
Indeed. He also has one from like Olympics of old.
LA 84.
Indeed. Which he said as soon as he put it on, the back bands just snapped in half. The old plastic gave up.
I'll tell you what, in 6 years' time, when the Olympics is next in LA, that'll be a really fashionable hat. I mean, to be honest, I think it looks pretty good now.
Absolutely. And right now it's some stylish play. A nice lead pass. Never stops looking at it to the eyes of Joey Stewart. A lead pass, and that is absolutely golden to match the toasty colour sand underneath it. Daryl Noonan streaking up line, and that one just put out on a platter.
Absolute money, that throw. Joey putting that one on a line into the end zone for the streaking receiver. All he had to do was make sure he watched it all the way in. This one again, that lead pass, it floats a little bit at the end. He goes up early and then manages to still box out Artibello.
Almost spooks him by going up that early.
And then there's the lead pass into the end zone, the 0-0 with the wheels. Daryl Noonan for the score. 4 each.
We did get a little bit of intel from the sideline. The reason we don't have Leanne Noonan on the pitch 4-man down is because she unfortunately has had an injury in the last game, which we didn't quite manage to catch.
What's your source on that?
The horse's mouth, the lady herself. But Daryl Noonan.
I think that sounds legit, yeah.
Daryl Noonan, formerly of quite a few clubs, says he does a bit of coaching on the side. He is Coach Daryl. Not the Coach Daryl, though, of course. We know Daryl Stanley, the most famous Daryl coach.
I'm sure there are multiple Daryls coaching.
Oh, yeah, but he's the most famous.
At the moment, yeah, I don't think that's unfair to disagree.
Possibly one of my own personal highlights of the World Games coverage we did earlier this summer. But nice movement around the backfield for her. Face marking from Russ Furr, allowing the easy opportunity. What a pickup for Johan Barrel. It's called down by other players on the pitch. Harris Maskett saying he saw Sand come up. I mean, to be fair, as you're running towards the disc, you're going to kick it up with your feet as well. The only person who truly knows is Johan Barrel, whether that one was up or down. But a clutch catch for sure. Teammates from man down saying that one was up. Big thumbs up from Scott Bolden, Scotty B. Just informing and giving those opinions to support and help. So Barrel looking for options. Stall count starting to rise. It's just going to jack it into the end zone, but it works out really pretty well. Mark Zimmel puts his paws around it, but there's a call on the play.
When all the play is congested in one corner like that, it's often very difficult to tell what any infraction might be. push off potentially, pick, who knows. Either way, it is going back here to barrel.
So I think it's a contested foul because the maximum it can come in on 6. So this is coming back in on 6. It's going to be a high, zesty release over the top. That one, bit too much mustard on it. Sails over the arms of the intended target, Jif Simonet.
Simonet very nearly got to that one because he knew the edge on it. He could see he was trailing it all the way. There's maybe one window where he can go up and try and pluck it as it's coming over his head, but it was too high at that point.
Oh, tall target to try and overthrow. The goal called back after Zimmel ground up line. Says his highlight was qualifying for the World Ultimate Club Championships back in 2013 with Mephisto. But man down with their eyes on a bronze medal. But they throw it away, they squander the opportunity and give Hurt a very short field to play with. Looking around for options as Zimmel squeaking it through. I'm not sure exactly who that was for. Looked for a moment like it was for Marianne Long, but eventually sinks into the breadbasket of Johan Barrel, collecting the next goal for her, and they maintain their lead. We're just training now as we reach 7 minutes away from the time cap, and the score's only 5-4, Benji.
It's a very tight contest. Both sides using every single joule of energy they've got, and they're trying to use those joules to take home the silver, well, bronzeware, I guess.
Well, this really is a war of attrition. All about that dynamic timing, the swings of momentum and outlasting each other, certainly in this division, well, great Grandmasters level. Johan Barrel there on your screen, been going to work, the man from Montreal. And says he was intrigued when he started to play Ultimate by a sport that didn't have a referee and also had girls.
What?
I know, it happens a lot on these rosters.
Whoa, steady on.
Co-ed sport, who knew it would work out well in bringing athletes to the field. So nice movement around the back from man down. Sheese on the far sideline, pops back. Daryl Noonan, pivotal in this game, but that one's going to go back. Little call up field.
I don't want to get too political about this, but it's interesting when so many people say the reason they love playing is because of the spirit of the game, there's no referees, you can play it mixed, and how often people seem to forget that.
Well, and this, of course, a loose mixed format, which not everyone has been a fan of, but a bit too much touching there. I'm not really liking that cut around the back from Daryl Noonan. Not so much of a button hook as a spear through the backspace. Yeah,
the defender is always going to be picked trying to come from behind on the thrower Appleyard.
Middlebrook, high release, and that just drops out of the fingers of Daryl Noonan, perhaps catching a bit of the sun as well in the eyes. An opportunity. Fox is going to launch it into the deep space of the end zone. There's a bid out of Darren Ensmans, but just a little bit too hard for the chap starting from Chapel Hill.
I mean, you think about the kind of the strong programs in North American Ultimate at youth, college, club levels, and the triangle it down in North Carolina produces so many good Ultimate players and teams at the moment.
Indeed, though there was a bit of a surprise upset, I think, for the women's team Phoenix. Of course, that tournament far less impressive than this one, as we see a disc going a little bit too high over the eyes of Paul Sheese. But Darren Edmonds, that previous passing attempt, a big old target to hit. He's 6'6". And says hello to his two daughters, Ruby and Adele.
Just reading that Daryl Noonan, by the way, played college Ultimate at UC Davis. He was a dog, as that is a throw on the money from Fox. And Fox finds the target in the end zone. It is Phil Watanabe streaking for the score.
What a catch. That was all about the maximum effort. Ed Fox put a lot of zest on that one. Cut up several limes and lemons. You can see that little left arm flail out of the way. One of the oldest players to have been playing with the AUDL is Fox, with the Detroit Mechanics.
A legitimate legend.
And the Charlotte Express. So Hurt with their second break of the game, and time fast running out for Man Down to respond.
I think however you view the pro leagues out in the States, to be the oldest player representing out there, still a mighty fine achievement.
What does he do to stay in such fantastic athletic condition? Is the secret having extremely lurid tights and sand socks?
Well, I must admit, when we bumped into her at the gelateria last night, he was not partaking, so maybe that's part of it. And in which case, if that is part of it, I want no part of it.
It makes me think of the Scott Pilgrim versus the World joke, which is I'm 7th level vegan, I don't eat anything that casts a shadow. I think it's from Scott Pilgrim, anyway.
I believe that.
That myself. So Pletcher. High one. Oh, nearly taken away by the defense, but that's a huge save from Stewart. Stall count starting to rise. Just about squeaks it out. Oh my goodness, what a huge redemption from Cashin. Stewart really likes to hold on to this for a long time, but that is a beautiful throw into the space for Travis Frazier.
That's what Man Down needed after Hurt got that break to give a little bit of separation, a nice clean hold to close that gap up quickly. You want to be spending as little time playing offense, or as in starting on offense here, as you can if you are Man Down, because you want to be earning those breaks back. You need a couple if you are to wrest this game back in your favor. This is the high stall, just slinging that one into the center. Cashin does superbly to get her hands underneath it. And then from there, the flow, pinged deep by Pletcher, and spears it on to Frazier for the score, 5-6.
Well, Jamie Cashin just behind her teammate Leanne Noonan there on the sideline, who's coached the UGA women back in 2001 when they went to college nationals. Currently coaching the women's team, Athena Still, and her daughter is one of the captains on that team. But this is a moment where Man Down really need to find some magic and get the block. Time starting to run out as they trail that break. Zimmel surveying the options downfield. Under comes Artibello.
Good to see him back on the field after going off with that earlier injury.
You can see the match defense trying to take away those deep options. It's a big one around to Artibello. Oh, and that's a huge defensive block flying through the air. Harris basket like a flying squirrel.
Absolutely shot out of there.
Tushy power exploding out of the sand and generating the turn. Can they make anything of it? Fur starting to look around. He just has to put it into the deep space and hope someone can go collect. And you can see the frustration there in the body language of Man Down.
So according to our clock on screen, cap should be going on after this point, so we'll have we'll confirm that with the scorekeepers.
Well, if Man Down can level us up and put us straight into Universe, that would be very exciting. But Zimmel will have something to say about it. Pops it to Simone. Watanabe. Sits in that low pivot, shoots to Artibello. Oh, the lean back is way too far. He falls onto his bottom. And that's going to be taken away. Artibello gets it straight back off the hasty pass. That was dialed in and a half.
So confirmation that cap will come on after the conclusion of this point. That's not a missed throw necessarily. That's Artibello going and earning that turn back.
Oh yeah, he knew exactly what they wanted to do. It's like he was in their head. Simone with a high release over the top of the mark. Watanabe, the cheeky lefty dish. Zimmel, around. Oh, and it's another block for Mascot. The universe brought him to this tournament. He wasn't originally on the man down roster, and maybe this is destiny.
A reminder that if man down put this in, 6-all, game to 7, we got universe for the bronze medal. Could you ask for anything more?
No, Benji, I don't think we could. I don't mind who wins this one. It's been a real tussle and a timeout taken. And I'm not sure how I feel about that choice from Mascot. It seems fine enough. They were coming off of a dead disc, Benji, and certainly after the last scoring opportunity that man down had, they couldn't put anything together. It's nice to see them take a breather.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's just, again, you can draw up a set play here, get a string, a continuation called, and also you do give those 5 players out there a little bit of chance to catch their breath back.
Well, and as the athletes out on the pitch do, we will do exactly the same. We'll be back after these brief messages.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
The conclusion of this bronze medal matchup here at the World Grandmasters Ultimate Club Championships on the beach in Portimão. Myself, Hannah Penderbury, alongside Benji Rees, this ULTI.TV production crew, working tirelessly under the sun that's reappeared in the late stages of this championship. Man down, sat 1 break trailing underneath hurt the Canadian side. And we're back in action. Mascot, who got those big blocks, puts one out on a string underneath it. Fantastic read. Just shy of the goal. Jim Middlebrook.
I think he scored a travel, saying they got a little bit too much movement there. Shouldn't be a stoppage, but
it's contested, so it will be. You can't technically contest a travel, but that stoppage just giving a brief moment of pause. Hanging around is Stewart. Oh, and it clutches the goal. Benji, we have a universe point finish on our hands in this 3rd place game.
we wondered what they'd cook up off the timeout. It was that deep put to Middlebrook. Again, getting the right edge on that is Mascot, because it's fading towards the break side, taking the defender out of it, gets himself into position, and then one-on-one in the end zone. Joey Stewart with the score. See it again here. Watanabe, he wants to get up. He does get up, but it's way over his head.
Yeah,
Middlebrook maybe taking 1 step or 2 too much, but they did punch it in at the end. 6-all, game to 7. Universe point for the bronze medal, Hannah.
Oh, yes. Could we have asked for anything more? No, we could not. You can see a little bit of a paragliding sail in the back, so just showing the other beachfront sports that are enjoyed here in Portimão. We've seen some windsurfers behind. It's not been the most blustery of conditions, just keeping things interesting. And this really has been a war of attrition between these 2 North American sides. Mostly Canadian, with a couple of USA teammates alongside. And I love to see Offense choosing to have a female matching player in these crunch situations in this loose mixed division format.
Yeah, Marianne Long's come up with a couple of big plays this game. Can they coax one more out of her? Good pull. Fox begins from the back of his own end zone.
Well, the defense can't quite run that one down and put pressure on. Cashin doing a little bit of hanging out in the lane, but Barrel nicely kept. Mark Zimmel against the wind, punches it through. Cashin again, trying to sneak into that lane. Appleyard on the mark. Barrel dishing back. This is really nice patience from her. Can they do some damage and reach into the field? High stall, but again, Johan Barrel underneath. Ooh, just about clutches it. Zimmel. Bedard on the far side. Both teams frantically screaming from the sidelines. It's going to be a battle in the skies for the bronze medal. It's the goal. I can't quite see. I think that was dropped.
And there's a foul called underneath it. It was tipped. He went for the second attempt. It's Barrel up against Daryl Noonan. I'll put my teeth back in. Daryl Noonan.
Great secondary effort from Johan Barrel. Been all over the pitch for her. Now, is there going to be a red zone stand from man down, or is it going to be a clean hold? Barrel looking around.
Great spirit, by the way. In that situation, say no, fair enough, accept the foul call. Fox moves so late.
Oh, and it's Fox with the around flick for the goal. And her, who never looked back, took those 2 points on the bounce to start it. I will claim the bronze medal here at the World Great Grandmasters Beach Ultimate Club Championships.
That's the first clean point for her since the first point of the game. What a time to find your form on offense again. You see here, takes advantage of the face mark from Stewart because he pops this over the head. And there's not a lot of separation there, so Fox moves so late just to give Stewart the minimal possible reaction time, and then quickly out of the hands to Johan Barrel. 7-6 for man down. Again, agonizingly just short of the bronze medal. Hurt will take home the bronze with a 7-6 victory.
Well, the Chattanooga farmer opens up a scythe around the force, punches that in for the final goal of this game. It was so tight. Look at the difference maker here. Just that one extra clean hold in favor of man down, but the breaks and that advantage at the beginning for her coming out on offense, starting strong and just holding out against the attack of man down. That's going to wrap us up, of course, for this bronze medal matchup, but stay tuned. Very soon we'll be having the gold decider, the final between Team America and Young Legends. It's a rematch of last season's scintillating final. So keep your eyes peeled. We will see you, for myself, Hannah Penderbury, alongside Benji Rees, our hard-working, tireless ULTI.TV production crew. We will see you in a few for the business end of this tournament.
Right now, he's gonna have to bid. Oh, just a football!
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Huge swing pass and a great grab there from Spear.
ULTI.TV BUCC lyrical.
Merci beaucoup.
ULTI.TV